Is the voice volume okay? Just making sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Everyone.
Namaste.
Sir. Morning, everyone. All the attendees can please mute your mic and video except analysis. I, Pranav Maheshwari from ISA Pune, on behalf welcome you all section of India's Utisht Bharat Think India Startup and Innovation E-Summit. It is organized from 1st to 7th of November 2020 in collaboration with All India Council for Technical Education AICTE, Software Technology Parks of India STPI, Institutions Innovation Council, Innovation Hub, Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India EDI, Gujarat Technological University (GTU) and MNIT Innovation and Incubation Centre (MIIC). I hope all of you are doing well and are safe in these tough times when the world is going through such a pandemic. COVID-19 has brought us times when we are maintaining social distancing and aren't able to be together physically. But under any circumstance, an innovative brain can't be stopped. In this meeting, we have among us Think India Nidhi. I welcome you, Shri Aditya ji. Altogether, I welcome all our guests. Shri ji are present here. It is an honor to have you all such experts among us. Firstly, I would like to introduce you about Think India. Think India is a forum of students from premier institutes like ISER Pune, IIT, IIM, IISC's National Law School, and all other such premier institutes including NITs in various fields of academia across India. Think India is aimed at binding Indian students in a nationalistic string and developing skills in them. So, we conduct very different activities such as EMUN, that is Model United Nations, E-Debates, and National Youth Parliament. Think India has different forums such as Travel Rights Forum, Startup and Innovation Forum, which all are active in uniting and training Indian youths. Think India Startup Summit is organized to encourage young minds to innovate and come up with desiring solutions to pressing issues in a nation. Here, youth can learn about different entrepreneurs, their stories, their experiences, and they can also learn from them. Today is day 2 of the summit, and this is the morning session, which is a panel talk on a very important topic, that is developing a startup and innovation ecosystem in national institutes. In this panel talk, our guests will one by one present their ideas about the topic for 20 minutes each. And after the talks, we will start a discussion session in which questions from only the chat box will be asked to the panelists. If someone has a question directed for a particular panelist, he or she can write it in the chat box. All panelists are free to add their points in any question. I once again request all of you to keep your mic and videos off throughout the session. Questions will be taken only from the chat box. No one is required to unmute him or her except the panelist. Now, let me also welcome Think India convener Shri Pratik Suthaji is among us. In addition, this stream is live on Think India Facebook page and also from iHub. Introduce you to our panel guests. Among us, we have Shri Shashikant Chaudhary ji. He has completed his Bachelor of Engineering in Electrical and Electronics Engineering, altogether with Masters of Technology in Electrical Engineering from Visvesvaraya National Institute of Technology, Nagpur. He co-founded ADCC in 1997 and also served as director at ADCC. In November 2008, he founded Lambent Technologies and was the CEO of the company. He has also worked in Global Logic India Private Limited for about 9 years, while being the managing director for about 3 years. He was also the president at TIE Nagpur. Presently, he is the co-founder at Stealth Mode Startup and is an investor in many startups. We are heartily thankful to have Shri Shashikant Chaudhary ji among us, and he is there for giving us his precious time to discuss about developing a startup and innovation ecosystem in national institutes. Our next guest is Shri Sanjay Inamdarji, who is a first-generation entrepreneur. Sanjay ji has completed his master's degree in public administration from Harvard University and Masters of Science from Massachusetts Institute of Technology. In 1990, he founded Flucon Stainless Steel Valve Manufacturing Company, which today is an export house recognized by Government of India. He has also served as subject expert at HPAIR, which is Harvard Project for Asian and International Relations, a non-profit organization for empowering youth in Asia. Presently, he is a manager of Board of Governors, College of Engineering, Pune. Also, he is co-founder of Bhau Institute of Innovation in Entrepreneurship and Leadership. I am very grateful to have Sanjay Inamdarji for attending this panel talk and guiding youths of the nation. Our third panelist for today's talk is Professor Amit Dwivedi ji. He is an associate professor and in charge of Department of Policy, Advocacy, Knowledge, Research and Entrepreneurship Department of. He was also the author of Jam India reports from 2015. He has also contributed in preparing AICTE Startup Policy 2016. We appreciate your presence among us. Thank you all our guests to be among us. I hope this discussion will guide the youth and help them in developing their start. Also, students from our nation institutes will be encouraged to innovate and create new ideas for the nation. Now, I shall request Shri Shashikant Chaudhary to present his views about the topic, developing a startup and innovation ecosystem in national institutes.
Yep. Thank you, Pranav. Thank you for inviting us to this very interesting panel discussion on Think India. Mr. Sanjay, Mr. Amit Dwivedi, Professor. These people have contributed immensely into the startup ecosystem or entrepreneurial ecosystem in the colleges. Now, for me, the people might be thinking as to what's my angle over here in terms of developing the entrepreneurship ecosystem in the colleges. As Pranav mentioned, I did graduate from VNIT itself, and I started my entrepreneurship journey right in the second year of my VNIT. So VNIT is very close to my heart, and I started my journey there. And after almost like the Global Logic was my ninth venture, and this ninth venture, when Global Logic was bought off by Apex Partner, I decided to spend quite a good amount of time into working on the entrepreneurship development system ecosystem at VNIT, which is the National Institute of Technology. And so that was like last 5 years I've been spending that time on working on these issues on ground. So some of those learnings I wanted to share, and some of the experiences I wanted to learn from other panelists, because this is fairly a new space for entrepreneurship in the college or in a National Institute of Technology. This type of theme is being worked upon for a long period of times in the US, but in the India, we don't have too many precedences for that. So everybody is learning from each one of us. One of those things which I'll just share some of those things which we tried to do in college and what succeeded or what possibly could be done. So I'm a founding chairman for VNIT Alumni Association. So when we wanted to work with these kind of the work which we wanted to start, we said, okay, we have to start it from the ground up. And one of the things that we could do is to get the entrepreneurship formal course in the academic program. It should be a part of the academic program. And I think Nagpur VNIT was the first NIT where the Alumni Association decided to design, own, and deliver the course of a credit course on entrepreneurship in the college. So we started in 2015-16 timeframe, and we said, okay, what should be the kind of the course we should take? And we took a reference of Stanford, the course which is taught by Steve Blank on the Neal model canvas. And with that as a reference, we created the Indian version of that. And I had people from Silicon Valley going in to deliver. This course the course is to only be delivered by entrepreneurs, not demeaning any professor. I was also a teacher for almost 10 years. But, if it comes from a person who's been there and done that, there is a lot of credibility. And of course, there has to be support from the college. So college gave us a support from a faculty side in terms of the management of this, in terms of support of this. But the actual course delivery, content, and actually the kind of the expert lectures which we were going to take it from industry, were to be, it's responsibility of the Alumni Association. So that was number one. So as I said, the credit course in the college. Second was we did a lot of experimentation in terms of fourth year, fourth and third combination, third and second combination, all those years and all those things. Because, this experimentation was required to find out where people are relatively free. Because people have, the unfortunately or fortunately, whatever the case scenario might be, the environment is that after third year, they get into a peer pressure, immediate kind of a pressure in terms of GATE, GRE, GMAT, and placement, and the dream jobs and all those things. And that pressure is so much that your success criteria typically in the college is defined by what kind of a GATE or GRE or GMAT score you got or CAT score you got, and what type of package you got. And that's kind of a success criteria typically in the college environments, and they get, almost like, swerved into that kind of thing, and their focus possibly changes too much in the third year and fourth year. And therefore, one of the mechanisms what we could do was to start this program right at the early stage. That was a great learning, the whole process. See, the college has a mechanism for communicating the information. But, after second year in the NITs and all these things, everything is optional. So even if you want to communicate a particular concept to a group of people who then out of that, some of the people might be interested, but how do you communicate? Because everything is optional. I mean, you can just send a notice or you can go into classroom for 15 minutes, but there are so many branches and so many classes. It's very difficult to communicate even the concept. You can pass on the message. But then, the second problem is that if you don't get these people to address, how can you get them interested into this particular program? And only, the interested people would do it seriously. Some people will join it for the fun of it. Some people might take that electives kind of stake as a resting place. Some people just join it because of the curiosity, something different. But there are very few people who would really join to learn and implement those learnings as a part and then create an entrepreneurial venture right in the college or right after the college itself. So now the question was how to identify these people at the early stage. Many of the corporates, even if you talk about the banks and LICs and all these big institutions, there is a concept called know your customers. Now in college, how do you know your customers? Customers, I mean your students. How do you know which are the students which are going to be interested in entrepreneurship? And it is just not by passing the message, getting in applications, and people registering, and then there is an initial level of interest, and that just dies down very quickly, and then the whole purpose is lost. So the idea was to know your customer kind of mechanism can be implemented that, and can be really identify these students right at the early stage. I believe, I would love to listen the experiences of other panelists, but my experimentation for the last 5 years has told me that the process has to start right when they enter into the college. I'm not saying getting into the entrepreneurship right at that point, but talking to the students, getting to know them about what kind of program we are going to run, get the communication of the concept going right at the early stage. The trick is to identify these people at the early stage, make them go through the filtered mechanism through some kind of workshops, and then maybe in the end of the first year itself, you have a list of 60, 70 people. But these are the people who are, very interested because they have demonstrated consistently over the period of time that they are interested into this particular program. And now it is like your first lot of people, which is like 60, 70 people out of the 1,000 people who get admitted. But then these people will graduate to second and third. So essentially you will get 200, 300 people, but these are extremely interested people. These are not just any people. And these people, so any good program, any good expert lecture, any good kind of a competition, these are the people whom we are going to. These people are always kept challenged, always kept motivated, always kept warm, and they need to be exposed to these kind of activities on a continuous manner. So one of those things, so right now what we do is we do this program right in the early part of the second year, but the selection happens right at the first year itself. So in a way, we know who are our potential people whom we should be working very hard in terms of the first part of exposing to the entrepreneurship by way of entrepreneurial course. At the same time, we need to then, get going in the first year itself, some of the activities through which we can just start knowing them much better. For example, I know, in many of the colleges, they have this program of 1 day selling. So that means they give them a budget of 100 rupees or 500 rupees, and the teams get formed. And what they do is just like in a day program, how much they earn out of what they were given. And at the end of the day, who made maximum money? Because engineers are good at creating the product, they are many times good in terms of selling the product. So we need to get that particular mechanism on that particular mindset in terms of getting into that shoes is how difficult it is to sell, or at least get them exposed to the selling. So we created a program called as a Campuspreneur, where it was a 3-quarter programs. So quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and quarter 1, there were 50 people who were shortlisted from 1,000 people. And these 50 people were divided into 3 people team groups, maximum 5. And these people were given some serious money. When I say serious, it's always relative, but 20,000 rupees for quarter 1, quarter 2, 20,000, 30,000, quarter 3, 40,000 rupees. But these were selected lot. How to raise that money is a different part, but that was the easy part to be solved. But these teams were working on a problem of selling. So every time, and there was a clear instruction that you don't have to create. you have to sell whatever is available. And then on each quarter, they have to submit a plan. They have to give a presentation to the board. There is a CEO, there is a chief of sales, there is a chief of financial officer. He has to create those statements. And each quarter, they will learn and implement those learning in the next quarter. Believe me, by the end of the third quarter, some of these people who were so-called introverts, they were not able to speak. The kind of the confidence that they got out of this particular mechanism in terms of facing rejection. Say 80% of the time we do the kind of selling. You are selling to peers, you are selling to professors, you are selling to committee members, you are selling the vision, you are selling the concept. Selling is the most essential part of the business, and we need to sharpen that right at the early stage and expose them. By that, they have created such a level of confidence that now they were able to face those rejections, talking to the strangers and taking their idea to the market. They were very complete. So put these people into those kind of workshops and find out those people who are extra talented, who are out of the chart. There are people, I can tell you, I've seen those kind of people where these people are out of chart. And some of those people have that potential which they demonstrate right at early stage. You cherry pick them. So it's farm grooming. They are there has to be a very systematic mechanism of celebrating. If you want to develop a system across in the college, we have to celebrate this entrepreneurship. Why there should not be a separate entrepreneurship board? Why there are these people millionaires in making? They should be put up across the college. They, in any kind of parent-teacher meetings, these are the people who are in the front in terms of showcasing what kind of work they have done. Visits by some inspection committees. These are the show what kind of work they have done, what interesting startup they are working on. These kind of things we could be doing in the college itself. Also, what should be done or what could be done, I mean, when I'm saying should be done is all the way experiments. There has to be a mechanism of identifying these people, giving from a Grand Prix roadmap in terms of right from 20,000 to 5 crores. And we have a roadmap for these kind of people in a way we are telling them, we show the honest matter. I'm very glad to say that we have done the NIT. We have created from the funding from the alumni. So there are 2 prof alumni from the NIT who are spread out of the world. We have 2 prof alumni. After that, we have just started with first alumni. So we have alumni, will be having a additional equity to the college or no matter. Even if in the incubation centers, right? In the incubation centers, mentors coming from all over. Why not have the mentor from your own college? In 22,000 alumni in VNIT itself, can we not have like 50 mentors who could be available to the incubating companies in our college? Of course. And as C.K. Prahlad has said, you don't have to have them at your premise. Access to them is very important. Having access to these mentors is going to be important. If these alumni, if they see an intent, if they see a purpose followed by that kind of commitment and that kind of a framework, they are willing. We need to create those frameworks for participation. We have not created those frameworks for participation of our own alumni in terms of how they can get in, how they can contribute, how they can go out. These mechanisms, for them, even if they want, even if and for
Your voice is not clear.
them to participate.
Your voice is not clear.
Sorry. Okay. Let me check. Is it clear now?
Sir, some disturbance is there, sir. Some disturbance is there with your voice.
Disturbance, so I'm not sure whether it's a connectivity or any other issue.
Sir, you can turn off your video and continue with the audio.
Okay, let me check. Do that and tell me about. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the feedback. So, from the alumni participation, we need to create those frameworks. I will wind up in the next 3 minutes that is allotted to me. 10 past 10 I started, 10:30 I will close. So we need to create the frameworks for the participation of the alumni. At the same time, when the students are getting exposed in the second year in terms of the entrepreneurship course, they should take the internship at the incubation centers in the college itself. So they should become interns for the startups which are operating at the college itself. And then, as these people graduate to the third year, they should solve the problems of the second year students, the initial. So we have to get into that, diya to diya se diya jala. We have to get into that kind of a mechanism. Every time you don't have to have a professor or a mentor to be available for the students because these are informal chains that happen. So if there are people available with the right kind of knowledge in the third year stage, at least the initial stage of problems can be solved by those people because they are approachable. Also, there's a concept called as a CTO council. Can we create a CTO council of the student itself? Because these people, engineers are a very tricky part. Some people are technologists. They take pride in creating the technologies, but they don't take pride in creating the business out of that. They feel it's a little bit, not to their level. Fine, not a problem. But these are great technology people. Can these technology people we create a student technology council to help our own startups solving their initial set of problems of developing small pieces in terms of the prototype on the mobile as well as the web and all those things? And for this CTO kind of council of students, can we give them a roadmap of connecting to the, alumni who are like the guys in the technology space? For example, we have like two people, Rama Viramuti, who is the enterprise head of security. There is one of McAfee in Bangalore and one by Upendra Madikar, who has 94 patents in security. Can we connect our these security students to these people, where then they get an upside in terms of learning, but at the other end, they give their services to the startups. So we need to build those small systems whereby we can approach to solve that equation in terms of, and then as these startups grow, we need to give them a playing ground. And our kind of a message to our student entrepreneurs is that your ability, how far you want to take your product, be it, from a technology side, you create the product, you show us the promise, we will match and we'll match more than that, be it funding, be it advice, be it mentoring, be it access to any geography in the world, we will be there. And therefore, if we can give and that kind of promise and support these startups will have a kind of confidence that, oh, okay, if I develop a good startup, these are the people who are going to support us to extend. And that's where, you can give a little much added fuel to the startup ecosystem in the college. That's 11:30. Thank you for my time.
Thanks a lot, Sukantji. Your advices and the knowledge you gave us. Your idea of experimentation is indeed the need of the hour, and it's true. हमें ही दिया से are of great value to everyone present. Thanks again. Now, I shall request Shri Sanjay Inamdarji to guide us and share with us his thoughts about how we can develop a startup culture in national institutes and how beneficial could it be for the nation. Over to you, Sanjay ji. Sanjay ji. Hello. Sanjay ji, audio and video is not clear. Yes, sir. Now we can listen to you. Can you please?
Voice clear? Are you able to listen?
Yes, sir. Your audio is clear now. Yes, sir. Your audio is now clear. Hello. Yes, sir. Can you listen to my voice?
Hello.
Hello, sir. Can you listen to me, sir? Sanjay ji? Hello. There is some issue because of which Sanjay sir has left the meeting as of now. So now we can move forward to Dwivedi ji. Professor Amit Dwivedi ji, could you please guide us with your words? Tell us more about how we can develop innovative ecosystem in top colleges of India.
Thank you very much, Pranavji. My compliments to Think India for organizing such a wonderful panel discussion and the whole event where eminent speakers are talking in detail about how startups can come up from the campuses and how the youth can take part in nation building, which is a very, very important aspect if we see Indian Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign, Government of India's campaign, as well as the need from across the globe. Everybody's looking for some innovative thing from India, and we need to take lead in that. So my compliments to the whole team and organizers. I'm sharing a slide, and through that, I will try to build my thought. Prauzi, is it visible to everybody? Just I need confirmation from anybody.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Is this visible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. So the talk is on very important theme of developing innovation and startup ecosystem. why innovation and why ecosystem will try to understand. And that too, the national level institutions, because they are the engines of generating energy, generating brilliance, intelligence. And we need to think about these campuses first. I generally discuss about this slide and a couple of more slides in my talks when I discuss about the startups, entrepreneurship, innovation. These all are very, very much relevant when we see the education as well. And when we see our Indian education system, it was a full and complete education system that used to provide a holistic approach. And automatically, the innovations, the ecosystem part can come up. If you see here, the major areas where education system used to focus was on peace in the mind so that there is a peace in the society, logical thinking so that you cannot simply and blindly follow something. You need to have some logical reasoning, logical understanding. Attitude of problem solving, whether it's a business problem, social problem, enterprises problem, family's problem, anything that comes, you should be in a position to solve it. You should know how to be self-disciplined, because unless you are self-disciplined, you cannot contribute in the nation building. You need to know whether there is a return or there is a high risk. You need to understand the requirements of stakeholders to various interactions. And you need to keep in the center the value-based system of our country, which was always there in the fore, in the prime area, having a sacrifice. When you want to make your nations Atmanirbhar or self-reliant, you need to sacrifice a lot. And it was there in our education system. When a teacher sacrifices his students, her students grow and contribute a lot for the nation building. When a student sacrifices, he innovates, he ideates something new for the nation. And the 5 important pillars of this education system was observation, a power of observation through which you can easily identify the opportunity exists, whether for a business, for a social cause. You need to know how to experiment it. You need to learn how to be innovative so that you can solve the problem in a different manner, in a low cost manner, in much less of efforts putting manner. And you need to know the skills which are required to solve the problem, to run the enterprise, or to have the startups. And very, very important is how to be well managed, well understanding about resources, the resources management. These things are there in our education system. Why I'm repeating here when I'm talking about the national institutes who are there and create a lot of value in the society, they need to revisit the education system that we have and try to build in the same manner so that whether it's an ecosystem or whether it's an innovation, automatically these things will come. The next slide is very, very important to discuss here. It is the data. And I want to discuss the data here. The data says that the Bharat, it was not India, it was Bharat. In century 1, the contribution in world GDP was more than 33%. It was Bharat. This data is not compiled by me. This data is compiled by Angus Madison, very known economist, and we all know that. I want to discuss it here because it has a relevance. India was already self-reliant. Bharat was already self-reliant. It was the leading economy in the whole globe. Till 16th century, we were the best and we have lot of trade. We have lot of trade routes. We had big cargo ships in the sea to operate and to trade, whether it's a textile, whether it's spices, whether it's a handicraft, whether it's handmade things. Yes, we used to operate the world's trade. We were there very prominently on the world map. Why we are not there today? Why the things are not that good today? We need to think about. And when I'm talking about the ecosystem, we need to again think about what kind of ecosystem we want, what kind of innovations we want. When we were handmade, when we used to operate things through handmade, we used to maintain 33% of world GDP. When we blindly followed machines, blindly because we were not good in machines. These were not indigenously developed. The theme of this conference is indigenous as well. My take would be, blindly, when we followed machines, we were not better in that. And with this mechanization, we lost our own knowledge, our own indigenous knowledge, which was there, which even today has a lot of value. If you see the global trade, the world is always preferring handmade, unique things, handicraft, and they're paying much higher price than the machine-made things. Whether it's patola from Patan, whether it's Banarsi sari from Banaras, or whether any handmade antique from any part of this country has much more value than any machine-made things. But we have chosen the mechanization blindly, and we lost our market share, GDP share on the global trade. Again, we need to revisit that. In our system, it was the original colors. It was the natural colors, natural things. Today, we are talking about ecology and environment. Why? Because we are following blindly about the machines, about the mechanization. We need to revisit, we need to rethink about the innovative styles we had, the creativity we had, and the kind of problem-solving attitude, having our own indigenous knowledge we had. When I'm seeing how to, again, build an ecosystem, it is not the ecosystem that is simply borrowed from some developed nations. I'm not interested in that because their context is entirely different than India's context. We have altogether different perspective. We need to provide localized incubation support to indigenous businesses as well. They have a lot of power. When I'm talking about indigenous businesses, yes, all those handmade, art-based, craft-based, unique indigenous knowledge-based businesses also need to be groomed. They need to be integrated. Aggregators are required in that space as well. Creation of micro accelerators for innovative small business models. We need accelerators, but again, we need to think about small student-centric enterprises, small businesses. We need, because we are a different country. Every individual has a different kind of perspective and very, very much unique and indigenous in nature. We need to inculcate understanding on Swadeshi model of business development because our own consumption is so high. If I give one example here, there is a paper known as handmade paper. It is made in India. It is being made by many manufacturers in rural areas. Handmade paper, so beautifully designed paper. The market is outside. 90% of total production is being exported. We need to think how we can enhance consumption of our own produce. Community funding for indigenous businesses. We are talking a lot about the kind of formal and informal jargon-based funding systems. But if we see again in the root, Marwadis, Agrawals, Jains, Bohras, They all are supporting their community and very well developing the ecosystem for micro and small businesses. Why can't we have that system again in a good manner? In fact, the campuses also can utilize benefits of our own communities. Because they are so empowered, they are not simply limiting themselves to the funding, but beyond that, the mentoring, the guidance, the handholding, which is again need of the hour. E-commerce platforms are also needed for small businesses, local businesses, and strengthening network of rural producers. Again, we have to think about the clubs of and forums of micro and rural entrepreneurs. We have such a great base of rural and unorganized sector entrepreneurs. They all need support. They all need good ecosystem, and we need to think about all of them. Opportunities. If I see indigenous food, lot of opportunities are there across the globe. Sweets, wafers, packaged food for tourists, milk-based. Thousands of things can be made with the base of milk. We need to think it again. Homemade crafts, handmade crafts, wooden, textile, metallic. Thousands of varieties are there. Community-led production. What I'm trying to say here, we need to revisit the term of ecosystem and the term of innovation as per our perspective. These things again need e-commerce based. And we have to think how we can develop an ecosystem, how innovatively we can develop something through which our handicrafts can also be sold across the globe. Our handmade furniture, handmade home accessories, handmade paper and craft, wafers, namkeen, kitchen utensils, all these things can be sold across the globe. Why we are simply providing platforms for other companies just to sell in India? Why can't we provide platforms to our own indigenously developed enterprises? They all have a lot of value. They are more natural than anything else. Now I'm talking a bit about the campuses. Yes, at EDII we have a program, PGDMB program, and we follow certain methods. Our 78% of students are entrepreneurs. We don't go by a traditional system of education. We try and allow them to innovate a lot. We follow a method of educate, stimulate, and incubate. We provide all those insights, learnings required to have the good idea, very unique and impact-making idea. That should be a problem-solving idea. It should impact, and it should be based on the empathy. Empathy is the very important tool when you're going to have the idea. Until unless you have empathy, you cannot understand the problem of the end user, and you cannot develop a right proposition in your business model. You must understand empathy, the power of empathy. So we educate with all those informations, all those knowledge required. Then we stimulate with small events, by giving a lot of opportunities to them so that they can come up. As the earlier professor was talking in detail, very nicely he explained the model that he applied in Nagpur, and fantastic model he applied. Likewise, we have here, we follow here a method where we stimulate them, and then we provide them some support in incubation manner. We have our own incubation where they can come up, they can get space, they can co-create. We provide mentoring, networking, a lot of other systems we provide. So these are the three important pillars: educate, stimulate, and incubate. And when one campus has all three important factors, it is very easy to build a right ecosystem. What supports can be provided? I simply did one study, a survey among the educators. And the crux is this: if you really want to encourage the students, you should have the Idea Lab. Idea Lab should be based on the design thinking approach, and they should know how to understand the idea. What is idea? What is business opportunity, and what is idea? Students should be there in the lead role, and they should have interest clubs. Local entrepreneurs should visit the campus regularly. Tinkering labs are there nowadays everywhere. Prototyping facility should be provided. A launch pad is a must. As earlier speaker was talking about, the launch pad, yes, it is a must where student can try something, can learn something, learning by doing. Incubation is a must. And of course, if you have technology business incubator, certainly you will get a lot of supports. Then seed capital is a must. You need to provide some small funding in the beginning so that students can can get some energy and go ahead. Hand holding from alumni, network of angels, yes, and communities, technology transfer and commercialization. A lot of technologies are there in the campuses. We have to think about commercialization, and testing is very, very important. So test them and commercialize them in your new ventures. Mentoring industrial databases. Yes, students before launching, they should understand the whole market. And a lot of databases like CRISIL and CMIE databases are available. You need to understand, and through that you can try your new business idea. Grants can be given, market assistance can be provided. The pedagogies which are relevant is having business plan creation. In the course itself, students should develop the business plan with the help of business model canvas. A lot of psychometric assessments are available. One has to understand where he is weak. So that part he can improve, and then it would be much easier for him to go ahead with the startup or with the new business. Simulation, a lot of simulations are available. One can simply run the whole simulation and can have the feel of the business, because a lot of decisions he or she is going to make while running the simulations. That part again can be there in the campus. Prototyping role model interactions like speakers like Sanjay Inamdar Saab can be invited in the campuses. And they are the role models for many startups. They can guide, they can mentor students, and that is very, very important to have insights from first-hand entrepreneurs. Discussions, industrial projects, workshops, all these things are possible, and institutions, the leading institutions should try to attempt most of these pedagogies so that a right kind of climate, a right kind of ecosystem can be built in the campus. So how to build? The course curriculum is very, very important. Still we are not following the advanced course curriculum which is needed today for entrepreneurs. Milestone-based learning system. In semester 1, if a student has the idea in semester 2, what he should do? He should develop the business model. He should have the website. He should have the TIN number. He should have the registered form. All these things should be there in the milestones. So develop a milestone for the whole course. From first year to third year or fourth year, student should achieve all those milestones so that easily he can have the enterprise at the end of his third year or fourth year. Effective pedagogy, because we cannot have lecture method for everything. For certain things we need simulations. For certain things we need psychometric assessments. For certain things we need teamwork. For certain things we need presentations. For certain things we need interviews. Accordingly, effective pedagogy must be there so that the overall development, the 360-degree development can be ensured. The material, still we do not have Indian material. We have borrowed material from Harvard, from MIT and all. We need to develop our own Indian material. If I can teach a case of my own student who was there in some other year, in 2012, 14 or 15, 16, if I can teach the same case in my class, then the current batch student will feel that, yes, I can also be a right and successful entrepreneur. So that kind of material must be developed. And triple helix model where industry, academia, and government together can work, that kind of thing should be there in the campuses. The assessment of courses must be there every year. We need to see which course is doing better and which course will discard, which course we should add. And regulatory mechanism, again, we have to maintain so that we can ensure the smooth implementation of the whole course. So finally, I would say that make your institution most preferred educational campus, where a student can learn creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Thank you very much for giving me time. Thank you very much.
Such a beautiful piece of advice, sir.
Mr. Pranav, are you listening to me?
Yes,
Hello?
sir. Yes, sir.
That's good. So,
Yes, sir.
first, in the beginning, I would like to apologize for the mess that my mobile phone created for me.
No problem, sir.
I'm very happy, Pranav Maheshwari, that you and your team has organized this event at this particular time. I'm also happy to meet again Professor Amit Dwivedi. I worked together in 2016 for the AICTE startup policy. And now the implementation committee chairmanship lies with me, which is a big job. However, we are trying. Tushar Kanchal, I think, has joined. Then Shashikant ji explained very well, and I also learned some things from it, some points on it. Thank you, Shashikant ji. Sunil Shukla is doing a great job. Amit ji, please convey my regards to Sunil ji. Having said this, I'll take a little less than 10 minutes, not 20 minutes, Pranav, with your permission. And I just want to make two bold points.
Yes.
And I'll stop there, and then we can move forward to discussions.
Sure.
My first point is, when I say that, Pranavji, that you have taken this subject at the right point of time, and the reason is that we are talking mainly of technology colleges, and there are 10,000 plus technology institutes within our large country, and about 80 lakh students are undergraduate and graduate in these 10,000 plus institutes. Out of that, about 3,500 are engineering institutes. Having said this, we can estimate that about a little less than 20 lakh students or into the job market. Some people go for higher education, some start their own businesses. But generally speaking, about 20 lakh students a year are into the job market. Now, entrepreneurship, innovation, startup is very, very important these days because of the dearth of jobs. We need job creators, or at least self-employment creating students. This is one point I wanted to say. I'm having any ready solutions for it. Having the team chairmanship for student startup of India's 10,000 plus institutes, and after traveling to 17 states and meeting that is the governors and all the vice chancellors, over 250 vice chancellors we have met, also talked to thousands of students informally, me and my team. And what I feel, my second point, that normally the promoters of entrepreneurship at the institutes or people like us advise that this should be done, which can be bundled generally into providing resources and asking institutes to start something. Maybe innovation cell, maybe entrepreneurship cell, so on and so forth. Now, what needs to be done is already known even these days. Resources alone, in my opinion, after talking to students, cannot create the hunger into the students. Top-down approach is providing resources, releasing funds, putting incubation centers is good. Of the cream, I'm on the board of and is so anything from within of Pune has $50 students do